Hey there, guys. This is Real Guardian. I'm doing a new series called Let's Talk. This one's going to be about my WoW adventure throughout the years of me playing WoW. I'm mainly doing this for people who don't know. I'll probably be doing this on my first What If I go back to is my mom is now in life support. Her condition's gotten that bad. So any prayers, any help you want to send, please do. We're going to keep fighting for her and keep positive attitude, but it's pretty hard. So if you want to help me at all, please go to my Patreon, become a Patreon supporter, go to GoFundMe and give me some money there. Or if that doesn't work and you only got $1 spare, I made a PayPal you can pay through there. I just need the help and support desperately right now. Another reason why I'm doing this was a huge inspiration was a channel by the name of Asmongold. I've been watching his content. He's an amazing content creator, even though I've not watched any of his Twitch streams yet, due to the fact that, especially what's been going on lately, like I haven't had any time. But he's an amazing person. Please go check him out. He didn't pay me a cent to do this. Hell, tell him I sent you. I doubt he'd listen or watch this video, but hell, who knows? Now, that being said, this might be either a short or long video, it just depends, because the whole reason I'm doing this is I actually got in touch with an old therapist of mine, and he said the best way to cope would be to talk about better memories and talk to my friends, and I thought, how about I do a series called Let's Talk? Could help me cope with the situation, and you guys get to know me better. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this somewhat long intro. Let's get started. Now, how I started WoW is kind of funny, and it's been an uphill slope down and back with me. Um, Back just before Brewing Crusade came out, my dad saw it at the store, and he went, "Do you want to try this?" Because this was back just before my dad turned into a jerk. And I was like, sure, because I had gotten to gaming at that point, and we never really knew what an MMO was. It just looked interesting. We liked the box art, so my dad bought it. My dad lost his first trial subscription because we had dial up. He argued with Blizzard to get it back because he argued that he had dial up. And anyone who has ever played the original fucking WoW, especially Burning Crusade with dial up, deserves a golden star of "you're a boss," my friend. We both earned that one. And I started out in the same race as him as a dwarf because we liked the Alliance at the time. Because honestly, I didn't really like any of the Horde options, neither did he. And we both started out as hunters. I get to play a few out, like an hour or two, because I was young and they wanted me to do my homework. Because remember, this is before my dad turned jerk, so he was actually being a responsible parent back then. And he played it after he got off of work. Now we played it for a while, and my dad got to like 50 or something, and I was only like level 30 because of what little time I had. And I did meet up with a good guild at that time and started really enjoying the game. Just then, Buried Crusade was about to come out, like a week later or something ridiculous at that point. Because we bought this so close from Buried Crusade's launch that we were just trying to get in the game and realized, oh, this is coming up. This would be amazing. And the first ever expansion I was a part of was Buried Crusade. Now, I actually had only gotten to 50 by the time Buried Crusade was actually wrapping up. So, like, I never really got into much of the content back then because of just that 2 hour time limit. Like I only had 2 hours a day to play this game, so it was hard because I wasn't even a teenager, so I had my things limited. But during that time frame, sadly, my dad lost my job and became an utter addict to WoW, and it really started tearing my family apart, sadly. But we still both, it was something we both could play and enjoy, and it was the only thing I could use to connect with my dad. So I never really looked bad at it, and I started to enjoy it. And I had finally gotten to level 60 as a hunter, and I finally started doing some of the end content just before Lynch King came out. And my guild actually ended up hating me because I was one of those weirdos that I put talent points in things I liked. And somehow, even in Buried Crusade, I made a mix match that actually made me a decent DPS to the point where one of my friends who was a Warlock main who did everything right by the talent tree was losing to me and went, "You asshole. Why are you beating me with this mixed match crap?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just like it. Because I was barely a teenager at that point when Bird Crusade was about to end from my memory. Because I'm really young. Like, I'm only in my 20s. And then the expansion that would change everything, Lynch King, I heard about it. I fell in love with the cinematic. I watched it as many times as I could, even with the infancy of internet. But when this came out, something great happened. some rural areas around here got chosen to get high-speed internet, and ironically, where I used to live, we were one of the areas that got. So we finally got off of dial-up, and we finally had high-speed internet, like how you're actually supposed to play WoW. And my dad even bought a brand new computer just for this expansion. He even He even let me and him waited outside a Best Buy during midnight release. The one time he ever let me stay up past midnight to get that game, to get that expansion. So to me, Flash of the Lynch King is where WoW truly started, where I truly fell in love with it. The only thing I hated about it was that at the time, for those who don't know, like you couldn't make two Death Knights at the same time. You could only make one. And my dad really wanted to play Death Knight. So I actually went to another server and grinded like hell on a, what was it? It was either a Druid or a Warlock, just so I can make my own Death Knight. And it was an amazing experience, that expansion that I played through on my Hunter. And my guild was still around back then. And this was just amazing. Like, I will never forget Lynch King. I remember falling in love with this character Sylvanas thanks to this, loving Arthas in the story to the point where I always told myself if I ever could get the money to afford the original Warcraft 3 where this was based off of, I'd play it. And actually, a few years down the line, I was actually able to get the disc copies and I played it, and it was totally worth it. It was just an amazing run for me, you know? And I was just having so much fun with it. I started getting more serious and actually putting talent points where they're supposed to go and actually doing that because I think Lynch King, they still had that system. I can't remember which one they took it out of anymore. It's been a long time and I'm an old WoW head, so I may get stuff confused. Sorry about that. I never got to do Ice Citadel because I wasn't good enough in raiding that my friends could do that, but I did some of the smaller raids, the lesser man raids, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved the pets. I loved being a hunter. You thought I was a dwarf, and I absolutely adored it. But that's also when I realized the toxicity of the WoW community, because shortly before Cataclysm hit, I just got introduced to the toxicity. It was killing me. I slowly started hating the game because of it. It's like I can't even play the game I enjoy. And the one good thing I have with my dad, even though at this point he becomes such an addict, that was all he wanted to do was play WoW. And I only was able to get a hold of the computer on the weekends when he had to work and I was off of school. His addiction was that bad, and on top of just seeing this addiction and realizing it was destroying me and my mom's life, and just the WoW community getting so toxic. Just at the start of Cataclysm, my good guild that I had been with since frickin' beginning broke up. They all went their separate ways for various reasons. And a lot of my good friends I had in Wilds turned into just such assholes that I only played like maybe the first two max level areas, like to like 83, and I quit. I just quit, people. Like, this wasn't the WoW I grew up with and love with. It truly was a cataclysm because in that moment, WoW died for me. It just died. I couldn't even look at it the same anymore. And it was depressing as hell because this had given me so much joy over the years, so much confidence, and it built up this community and taught me to love playing with other people. That just this toxicity and my friends and my guilt breaking part and my own dad's addiction that was affecting him. I realized right then and there I had to stop playing WoW because even I was starting to get addicted. I realized I had these addictive tendencies like my dad, and they're not healthy. And I quit WoW right then and there, cold turkey, for years. For years. And my mom met a good friend of my family that I'm with now. And he asked me, like, your mom told me you used to play WoW. Because this was shortly after my dad had left the house and basically divorce was up in the air. And he said, yeah, I used to play it. So what? You talked to me about it. I'd pay your WoW subscription if you're willing to play it again, as long as you want to. I was like, sure, if you're willing to let me start a free account just because I could try up to level 20 to make sure I even want to play it anymore. And I did, and I ended up loving it, and I said, yeah. And he said, okay. He bought me the max version. You can get all the way up to Pandaria so I could get the level bonus ticket. And the first thing I did was I popped that sucker in my Worgen frickin' Warlock. And something about me, like, I generally I have a few male characters and a few female characters in WoW particularly, because WoW is one of the very few games or MMOs they at least try to make good male gear even when it's lower level, which is a godsend to them, and I thank them for that. But as you know, these games, female has the better set regardless, which is kind of sucky. But I got into Miss Pandaria and I started playing that. Sorry if I hit my mic, guys. Um, I started playing that and I started enjoying WoW again. I was like, wow, because I immediately when I got in there, I got in this amazing guild, and I ended up loving the new Pandaria race. You know, everyone else I knew hated it from back in my old days, and I couldn't get into our original account because it was my dad's account, and he didn't feel like giving me the password or reactivating it. So I had to make my own account during all this. So I had to start over from scratch. And I had at that point played years of RPGs and JRPGs, and I had become a grinder. You know, that awful, despicable grinding garbage. And I ended up grinding about 5 different alts. I even made a horde alt so I could play with my family friend because he's mainly a horde player. And I made a paladin and I maxed it all the way out to max level just to play with him. And I even maxed out a dark death knight that was also horde. And I maxed out like my warlock, a dark knight, unholy death knight because my horde one was frost. And then how to put this, like, then my other alt main like I had that was the fifth one, like, was a monk who I maxed that out too. And then I grabbed one more class after that, and it was the shit, what was it? Sorry for my cursing. I just can't remember. Like, I had 6 mains, so I think about it back in Pandaria, but I mainly played on my warlock and my death knight. Well, my alliance side, I only played on my horde side with my family friend. I kept gearing them up, and I can't remember what my 6 main was anymore. What was it? Oh yeah, it was a warrior. Yeah, I remember. Warrior. Yeah, despicable warrior, or in Asmongold terms, best class. Best class. It's how one of my friends who watches him a lot tells me. Don't know how true that is because I've only watched a few of his videos, and if he's watching this, you could chew me out for not knowing anything. Um, but I was really enjoying it. I was playing with a family friend. I got back in a good guild, and it revitalized it for me. Like, I fell in love with WoW again. And I was like, fuck, I've got to get the next expansion. I've got to play through this. I started doing actual end game content and actually getting good enough with raiding. Like, even my guild let me do it. I love being a warlock. I love being a death knight. How I fell in love with all this shit again. And at that time, when my mom and dad were going through this divorce, it was my escape. One of the reasons why I won't even talk about it the first time was just the escapism it gave me. Even now, I appreciate that escapism beyond all belief. Like, without it, I don't think I could have coped with it. Which is why I'm doing this right now, to be honest. It's just to help me cope with guys. And I played through it, enjoyed it, fucking loved it all over again. Pandaria was like the best expansion I've ever played at the time because of just me falling in love with the game. And I will admit, my favorite expansion of all time will always be Lynch King. But Pandaria made me get back into the game, made me fall in love with it again. So it's always a close second, even if everyone else I know tells me it's a subpar one. To me, it's what brought me back. Then Warlord to Draenor came out. And that's when the problems started happening all over again with WoW. Because my great guild started falling apart because our guild master got really sick and just couldn't keep up with this guild anymore, and it fell apart by the first quarter of the series. And I ended up just starting leveling up various alt classes as alliance and a few in horde because I just that was just me. I had nothing else to do. Because without my guild and without this close knit community I regained myself into, even with my good friends, it's like it started dying again so fast for me. And to be honest, Warlord Draenor was just, to me, was way too much unnecessary garbage. Like, I noticed there's some of it in Pandaria, and I know some of it was bad, but not as bad as Warlord got. Hell, it got to the point where like I'd only log in to do some endgame content and level up my crafting profession on one of my alts, particularly my Death Knight alt. Like, I maxed out my engineering on that because I just got so sick and tired of stuff. It was the only thing I could alleviate myself with. And I'll be honest, like I would have never done the next expansion had I not did what they did. Which that one is being Legion, but let's continue with Warlords. I enjoyed it at first, but realized, God, this is so awful, just awful. Like Missa Pandaria to me wasn't subpar. Like that was subpar to me. It was Warlord. Like that was just so subpar. The garrison, all this other crap you had to do, this time limit crap, just to do other stuff, just to get everything. I had been told by people that really played MMOs, because I still was not a huge MMO fan and player as I am now, that this was a common thing, but I did not know that until the Warlord. And even though I'm a grinder, I have a certain limit to my grindiness. And if you can't keep me there, like I have no reason to continue with the grind. So, like, why would I? And I just kept going through day by day, and to the point where I just felt like this was it. Like, I fell in love with WoW again, but is it dead already? Should I even bother anymore? That's my real thing. I stopped almost playing it all together, and the launch trailer for Legion came out. And I went, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. The class I have always wanted to play since Legion, which was like I wanted to play as Illidan so bad. Like make that a class I want to play, and then I see it and I can play it in Legion. And I just ran back into WoW. I started like gearing up my at least some of my alts, my more played alts, just to prep myself for a Demon Hunter. And man, was I not disappointed with Legion. Like Legion was amazing. But there was a huge problem with Legion. The grinding got even worse to me. And second, I didn't have that guild that kept me wanting to come in every day to legitimately play this game, to spend hours on it. And I think even the person that paid for it realized that. So, guess what happened? When I didn't even bother doing any of the new endgame content, he went, I'm sending you a present. I want you to play it. And now, I had played this before, its original base game, because I was interested in looking at it because it was on PS4 and I had never played another MMO. This was Final Fantasy. Yes, the legendary Final Fantasy XIV, the one everyone knows. That basically set the bar for an MMO for me at that point. Because I got in there. I ended up finding this amazing FC that I am still a part of to this day. That are great friends of mine, even though I've recently left it because of it getting stagnant. But I am still great friends with everyone on there. I play this game, and I play that game religiously with them. I fell in love with it because it had an amazing story. You only needed one character. And sure, I picked a chick. Crucify me in the comments. But I ended up falling so hard for that game. Because even if I didn't have the freaking FC there, I had this story I wanted to see to the end. I wanted to play it. I wanted to give up everything for it. It was bloody amazing to me. I just loved it to death. And I had a choice because at this point I could either grind gear so I can do some the end game content and stay on a game that I basically at this point have already died again on me because I just lost that support network, or continue in this support network of not only just this amazing FC, but this amazing community that is FF that taught me the difference between a toxic community truly and a great community. I had that choice. And I chose FF. And I still play it, even though I haven't touched it at all in almost 2 months. And especially right now, I've only maybe logged on for a few minutes because there's the pure out stress. Which honestly, I think I might start diving myself back into it just to cope. Hopefully, I can handle it. But I agree that it's like that. But I really loved WoW. I didn't want to quit it. But I realized something thanks to playing FF, me getting into more MMOs is there's better ones out there than WoW. WoW's good when it's good, but it's bad when it's bad. And I just kind of lost interest in it finally. Once I made the full ship, he stopped paying for that, but he was willing to pay for my FF. And he still is to this day, and I'm grateful for that because I wouldn't be able to play it without him. And there's also a good story at the end with this one for you guys with FF. But one day, a dear friend of mine I knew since fucking middle school called me up and went, please come back to WoW. If I can convince you it's worth it with Battle of Azeroth, I will at least pay 6 months. I said, you give me 1 month and you buy it. I will buy it because it's dirt cheap right now. Because this was when Azeroth got so much bad reviews. I remember I bought the complete edition less than $20 or something ridiculous. I remember the price being so low. I was like, what the fuck? I digress. And I was sitting there like, and he was begging me, and I said, you give me a token for a month. He gave me a WoW token because he had one, bought one, sent it to me just so I would play for a month. I get back in there, and I know why I quit. I only survived a week. I was sitting there on my Demon Hunter, though I loved playing it, and I just went, why am I playing this when I could go back to FF and play a game I enjoy for the story, for my community, for my FC, the people that love and respect me, and the people that have been giving me such great support, even right now with what's going on with my mother. Why did I come back to this? What was the point? That point, I basically went, WoW was no longer my MMO. But I will never take that away from anyone because I still remember the good memories I had with my dad. And it's one of the few things we can actually talk about, ironically, still to this day. And I enjoy that, you know? But I want to give you guys some of my errances right now. One of the things I really hated was how much they nerfed on Holy Death Knight throughout the years. Hated that. How much they nerfed the Warlock after I got into it and enjoyed playing it just before I quit. Hated that. I hated how that the Lynch King one seemed to be their magnum opus. Like they put so much effort and time into it, and then every other expansion afterwards was like an afterthought. Like I hated that. And either they had one of the best fucking classes I've ever played as, is just Demon Hunter. That was enough to save it for me. Some other grievances I had was some of the patches, some of the grinding systems. Like I could go into detail, but given my mental state and just me wanting to talk right now and get some stuff out, and me at a breaking point almost, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I might do a revisit of this episode and go into more depth later, though, because I feel like you deserve that, guys. But that's basically where I'm at with this. And I was just sitting there going like, I don't know why I did this. I told my friend I just couldn't, that I'd play with him during that week, and I just told him I couldn't, and he finally went, I understand. I asked you because I wanted to know something. Is FF better? He wasn't doing this just so he have someone to play with. He said if I couldn't get you back to WoW, I knew there was no reason for me to stay in WoW because he felt like leaving it. And when I told him all about FF, he joined. Sadly, he only joined for 6 months before real life caught up with him, and I haven't been able to talk to him since. But that was a good 6 months. I taught him how to play FF. But I have one final grievance that I found out with the new expansion that I got shown because someone just told me to go check out the trailer because I still have connections to some of my old WoW friends and they're still WoW players. And the thing they showed me was that trailer. Did you know Sylvanas is one of my very few favorite Horde characters in the whole WoW universe? And I went, 1, bullshit. 2, bullshit. 3, bullshit. 4, I don't even remember who placed the Lich King, but I know he can kick your ass in 2 hits. Because even I knew, no matter what you did, there was nothing Sylvanas could do to win that fight. But Blizzard being lazy, and this is another grievance I had, Blizzard got so shit lazy with the writing. As a personal person that loves writing, for those who don't know about my channel, have just watched it, like I should have pointed out at the beginning of this was, I'm a what if writer. Like I take something like an anime and I go like, what if this happened instead? And I love writing, and it's been improving my writing. And my mom was really supportive of my writing goals to the point where I'm not going to put it down even if my life turns to crap. I'm going to always be here, and I'm always going to be doing it because she told me she wanted to see me live my dream. And I'm going to make sure she gets through what she's getting through so she can. And I'm going to fight every step of the way to do it. But when I saw what they did with Sylvanas, it just proved to me that this game was going to be dead soon. Because to me, they gave up on writing. And the only way to truly make something rememberable is writing. You can make one of the greatest gameplay experiences in the world, but if that writing is utter garbage, it's going to get forgotten. lost to time. There's a reason why games like Nier, Near Replicant, Near Automata are remembered. There's reasons why FF's always going to be remembered. How I could see people, if it ever shuts down, making their own personal service just to keep it running because it's that good of a fucking game. That's how good writing is. And as a writer, I love that. But I can't support WoW because they don't want to support the most common thing, writing. And I'm not even talking about some of the dodgy crap they've been doing lately. But yeah, that was basically how I've seen WoW over the past few years. And honestly, just talking about this got me out of my depression. So I'm hoping you guys are willing to listen to this because I'm probably going to start doing Let's Talk series a lot because I really want to talk about other things, not just WoW adventures, but my own ideas and concepts behind stuff. How I'd love to talk about karma just because of my own personal influence and how my mom taught me on that. But the main reason why I picked this for the number one was she was actually proud of me. She was very proud of me because I proved I could beat my own addictive tendencies when I told her I was done with that and I proved I didn't touch it for years. She always told me she was low-key proud of me to prove that I could be better than my father because she didn't want me to end up like him. She wanted me to be successful and push on with life. And I've lost sight of that goal she asked me, and I'm never going to lose sight of it again. And the reason why I said there's a nice little gift at the end for Final Fantasy was my mom asked me what I wanted for Christmas because she set aside $60 for one time. I asked for the next expansion to FF. To me, that's going to be the greatest Christmas present I've gotten all year. And I'm honestly about to start crying, so I think this is a good endpoint for it for the start of the series. I'm sorry if you see this more as a rant, but I wanted you guys to know a little bit about me. I'm going to be doing this because my therapist, an old therapist I used to know that did anger management, I actually was able to get a hold of his contact because he gave it to me before he left. He told he was an anger management therapist. I've been telling him what's been going on, and he told me I need to talk about it. I just need to talk to people. I need to keep my support network up. And you guys are my subscribers. You are my support. That's why I'm asking for it. Like, as much as you guys can personally give me, I need that support. So I'm going to be doing Let's Talks. I will get back into What If soon. But today I'm going to take probably a whole day to be with my mom after I do something else because, I have so much stuff at my house to go through. It's a lot of my mom's belongings because I'm trying to get my ducks in a row. And to be honest, what happens, I might not be able to pay my rent by the end of this month because I need like $1,000 a month just to get by. And I live in a shitty ass neighborhood in a shitty ass trailer. And I'm sitting in my grandparents' house right now. Because they're kind enough to take me in, especially since they know I've been utterly stressed out and unable to sleep in my own home because of everything that's going on. So I will always be eternally grateful to them for this. Like, I may not get along with my either side of my family sometimes just because I feel like the black sheep. Well, especially with my dad's side of the family, I'm the black sheep. Like, there's no contest. This one I always felt like I was the gray sheep. Like, I'm in between in this family. And when this all was going down, they showed me, like, even though we butt heads, they're my real family. They always will be my real family because they're taking me in without asking anything in return right now just to help me out. And I'm planning to talk to them about possibly if I can't find a way to start getting $1,000 a month, start going through my stuff and see if there's anyone that'd help me at least pay 3 months worth of rent and lights, just so I won't have internet anymore because I can cut that bill out and just get by long enough to empty out the house. It depends on what they tell me they think about my mom. So I hope you guys remember the beginning of me asking for help on Patreon, on PayPal, on GoFundMe. Whatever you can give me, I need it. I'm going to stay strong for her and try to keep going through, and I might be doing more Let's Talks because this is already therapeutic enough for me. I'm sorry I kind of went on a rant and talked too much, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And once again, go check out Asmongold. Like, his Twitch content and everything is worth it. I've at least watched one Twitch stream recently because my friend made me watch it, and it was a good stream. So please go check him out and be helpful with this content. Like I said, if you want to say you heard about me from him, do it. I doubt he'll watch this video, but hopefully you guys will like his content too. Thank you for listening to this long ass, probably 30-minute video of me just getting everything off my chest about WoW, just so I can get some stuff off of it. You guys have a wonderful night. This is Real Garen, signing off.